Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for, this is actually going to be a September bonus reading. You have this card that says choose your words carefully. You also have this card that says you are destined to succeed. So damn, we're off to a good start here, Pisces. I do think it, of course, is a good time to watch your words. Neptune retrograding back into Pisces, and it, it's not there yet, but it will be there soon enough. And, Neptune can definitely have to do with kind of like manifestation, things like that. So I would make sure that you are speaking more positively, of course, because, well, and you have the Magician right here. It's like you literally could be kind of, manifesting very quickly, but I would make sure that you are, manifesting things that you actually want, not things that you don't want by watching your words, right? And yeah, that's pretty much what I would focus on here, Pisces. But let's see here. So we enter into the month with the Eight of Swords. I'm doing a Celtic cross for these readings, and you. So the first card here of how you enter into the Celtic cross is the Eight of Swords. This is how you are entering into the reading. And so the Eight of Swords could be like a little bit stuck. I don't really feel good or bad about this for you, Pisces, just in general. Like, yeah, I think there are some things, and sorry, everything in my office is all messed up here, but it's all out of place. But anyway, what I would say is that, I don't feel good or bad about this. I feel that what you need is like a chief aim. I actually think I'm pretty sure there's a book called Definite Chief Aim or something like that. Don't quote me on it. I'm actually going to look for it after this reading because it just popped into my head with that Ace of Swords. I think it's by Mitch Horowitz. Again, basically, if I remember correctly, I read it years ago, so I actually don't remember really, but the whole point of the book is that you have a chief aim in life. You have like one thing that you set out to accomplish, and that is it, right? Again, if I remember correctly, it was a really good book, so now I'm going to read it again if I can find it. And you have the Ace of Swords in the area of your mind, which we're going to talk about in a second. But the thing about the Ace of Swords is it's a laser-like focus. It is having like one thing that you're going to accomplish, and that's how you have a victory with the Ace of Swords. And that's what's popping into my head between these two cards. Like, to set yourself free from the Eight of Swords, like, you just have to pick one thing. I think maybe there aren't any really cards that, like the Seven of Cups, for example, here yet. This could change in this reading that would represent that type of confusion where you have too many options. But that's kind of like the feeling I get off of this Eight of Swords, is it's like too much. You have the Four of Pentacles, again, holding on too tightly to the past. Again, cheating a little bit, because based off of Pisces astrology, that's the whole point of September for Pisces, especially with the eclipse on the 7th, right? In Pisces. The whole point, Pisces, is to let go of the past. It's like you have two choices, right? And I'm not criticizing anyone here, and there is no, I don't think this is a good or a bad thing, but, you have a choice between staying stuck in the old story. You have that card that basically says, watch your words. It says, choose your words carefully, right? I would choose everything carefully. We are in a time where I believe all of us really have the ability to curate a reality. We have the choice, right, of what becomes a part of our reality, but we have to make those choices. We actually have to do it. And, that's what I would say here with the Four of Pentacles, is that you have to kind of make the choice to let go of the past, especially with this eclipse on the 7th. There are certain things that you're going to have to release. And that's what I would focus on, is what don't you want to be part of your story, right? Next, in the area of what's on your mind, you have the Ace of Swords, which is great, because having the Ace of Swords in the area of what's on your mind basically says that what's on your mind is winning, which is good. Even if you're not winning, that's fine. Maybe, but at least your mind is kind of going in the direction of having a victory, or hoping to have a victory. Again, I would feed this. I think sometimes we have to feed energies like this, as in we have to give them more energy so that we can have the wins that we are dreaming of or fantasizing about or whatever. And so don't be afraid to, keep giving good energy to those thoughts of, having a win in your life. And there could be some victories. I also feel you could be overcoming a big obstacle this month, something that's been holding you back for a while. And again, having an eclipse in your sign, I definitely could see how, there could be some challenges that you are overcoming. Again, based off your astrology, Pluto in your 12th, right? in Aquarius. Pluto in the 12th in Aquarius can bring out like hidden issues, obviously. And so you could be, and it is popping into my head that a lot of you, it's like you could be kind of, shedding these like hidden issues that you've been dealing with for a long time. I do think sometimes Pisces, holds things in. It's like problems, challenges. It's like we don't want to burden people in our lives with our problems, basically, or whatever. And so I do think sometimes Pisces holds things in a little bit too much. And I don't know, just intuitively, I'm getting that message about the Ace of Swords. It could be a month where you're letting things out. But again, I think this would be a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of like you're actually processing those emotions. Again, the problem with Pluto on the 12th is that if you hold things in, you will have a problem. Pluto on the 12th will cause like health issues and things like that. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things where it's like you definitely want to let the emotions out, or you definitely need to find an outlet for your emotions as well, even if that's like screaming into a pillow, punching a pillow. I don't care what it is, as long as it's a productive use of your emotions, and things will probably go very well for you. But because again, you with the Pluto and the 12th thing, you have to get those emotions out of you. You have the Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups is the only card in the tarot that has an eclipse on it right here. So you definitely are walking away from something this month, which again, pretty obvious based off the astrology. I think that it will probably be good for you. I think it's no mistake as well that there are a lot of things that are going to be causing changes in your life. I think in your last reading, maybe not the last one, but maybe the actual September reading, I think I said this in. A lot of you, it's like you are changing like everything is set up for you, Pisces, to change on a very deep level. We have Neptune retrograding, Saturn retrograding back into Pisces as well. North Node is going through Pisces. If you are a Pisces rising or an Aquarius rising, that North Node, in the near future, depending on which one you are, is going to conjunct your ascendant, right? Which is like major for kind of like transformation, and major for you changing, you being the one that changes. So again, doesn't, if you are, like I said, if you're a Pisces rising or Aquarius rising. Actually, if you're a Pisces rising, then that it would already be conjuncting, if I remember correctly. It's going to be very close. Again, next year probably ish is when, if you are an Aquarius rising, that you will experience that conjunction, or maybe the year after, somewhere around there. Doesn't matter. It's coming up, and again, the whole point is that this is going to lead to deep personal change, I think, for Pisces. So you probably are just cutting things out. Plus, the eclipse as well. All of that stuff together. And again, astrological timescale, even though some of you, this might be happening over the next 2 years, that is a very short period of time. So in the grand scheme of things, right? So, again, these changes are basically happening very, quickly. Next, in the area of your past, you have this Divine Infinity card. It says, challenge, yes, I mean, this is the secret sauce for Pisces here, for sure. It says, challenge yourself to go beyond your limitations, and you'll find your infinity. Yes, everything you want is on the other side of something you've never done before. That should be your mantra as a Pisces. You have this unrevealed secrets. We just said this. It says, what is happening on the surface is not what you'll see if you dive deeper. Again, there are things coming out, right? Maybe out from you, maybe out from your emotions. There could be releasing. Even though, this past position in the Celtic cross represents the past, and it also represents energy you're moving past, this is probably something that you are working through right now. And again, this is a good thing. You if it's emotions or anger or whatever, if you find a constructive release for it, go take a karate class. Go, go do something. Take a Taebo class at your gym. Do they still teach Taebo? I have no clue. But, go do something, because if you find a constructive release for it, then you will heal instead of like creating some sort of issue. You have the Magician. The Magician is pointing right down to the Eight of Cups. He's literally saying, if you want to reinvent yourself, then you need to walk away from things that no longer serve you. The Eight of Cups is about deciding with yourself what you are willing to tolerate. The old cliche is that we get what we tolerate, right? And the Eight of Cups is about not settling. And the Eight of Cups says, if your life is not as good as you want it to be, like, now is the time to reinvent it. Now is the time to say, like, what parts of me am I tolerating that I shouldn't be tolerating? Am I being lazy? Am I, not doing enough? Am I doing too much? Am I trying too hard, right? Those are also things that Pisces does. Again, as a Pisces, I can tell you that my mom used to say to me all the time when I would do things that should have worked. I will still say that. I'm very stubborn. My mom used to say, "You're trying too hard." It used to piss me right off, right? And so, but again, there is some truth to that. It's like, I even used to say to her, like in business, I had a marketing business that was very successful. I shouldn't have been complaining in the first place, but it's like I had friends that also had that were in the same industry that were like 10 times more successful than me. I'm like, I used to say to my mom, I'm doing the same things. I know more than them. Some of them, it's like I'm not criticizing them, but some of them were not like the very, I wouldn't call them like super geniuses, right? Neither am I, but I'm just saying, like I felt like I was smarter than some of them, which I probably was, but that's also the curse, right? The curse of knowledge. So, and I used to say, like, they don't even know more than me. And she used to say to me, that's exactly why it works for them. Because they're not trying, And so, again, I feel that for you, Pisces, where it's like saying some of you might be trying too hard, right? Maybe you're trying to make things work when you shouldn't. You're trying to be too perfect or something. And again, trust me, that has been my struggle. So, there you go. Next, in the area of the very near future, your very near future, you have this change your tune card. Yes, I mean, choose your words carefully, change your tune, same thing. You have the self-regulation card. Again, Pluto on the 12th, right? I think it is a very good time for self-regulation, for emotional regulation, things like that. And again, this is really kind of like the main theme of this reading is that, if you can be in control of those things, I think that things will go way better for you, that you could heal. You could be setting yourself free from, years of challenges or pain or something if you kind of process, emotions or whatever it is. So that would be a good idea. I do think some of you definitely need to watch your words based off of what you want. It's kind of funny. Sometimes I feel the Six of Cups can be a gift from the universe, and usually the gift we receive is a turnaround with the Six of Cups, but I kind of am feeling like the universe wants to bring you something, but you have to change your tune about it, It's like love. If you want love, I feel that maybe you've been too negative about it. Maybe you need to speak more positively, about it. I say this to people all the time. That really, it's like, I just, and again, I'm not commenting about the comments, but what I am saying is I get a lot of comments, right, from people that are like, I'm not going to have love. This person cheated on me. These people did this. They did that. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's the story you're telling. So it's like that's what you're going to get. There are plenty of people who do not do those things. So you have to find the right people, right? And I feel like that's what the Six of Cups is saying, is like you have to find the people who don't do that. And yeah, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it will be worth it. Like, I feel the universe, like I said, wants to give you a gift here. But it's like I said, you have to change your tune, I think. You have to make sure that your words are moving in a positive direction. Next, in your outcome row, you have this regret card and the surrender card. I think you have to let go, time, right? Saturn retrograde in your sign. One thing about Saturn retrograding as your sign in your sign is I think that it makes you feel like you are out of time. Saturn is time, and so definitely with it retrograding into Pisces, literally on September 1st. I think you could be feeling kind of triggered on seeing where you feel like you're out of time, or those types of issues can pop up in your heads. I feel like this is saying you have plenty of time, number one. Number two, you're not out of time, but I think you need to make sure that you're not beating yourself up for those things, is what this is saying. I feel like you need to surrender to the flow, which is funny because you're a Pisces. You should be in the flow, right? You need to be in the flow as a Pisces. But again, I kind of feel this is saying you need to surrender to that, go with the flow, not trying to make things work, right? Maybe that would be a good thing for you, Pisces. Next, over the next few months, you have the Hierophant. Yeah, I feel like you're kind of breaking free from kind of the box. The Hierophant, he is sitting on his box here. And I don't mind the Hierophant. I don't think it's a bad card or anything like that. But, sometimes I think he can represent just being too inside the box. And what he needs is outside the box thinking, just like I said. That's the thing that will set him free. And maybe that's what you need. He's also blessing these two people in front of him. I definitely feel over the next few months that there are going to be some blessings that are coming in for you. And I think this will be a good thing, of course. I think that it could be there could be a lot of happiness and joy and, all that other stuff coming in here, Pisces. So I do like to see this for you. The other thing is I feel like this is encouraging you to level up here. The other weird message I'm getting here, this might not sound like anything important, Pisces, but I feel like it is that I feel like there could be a lot of just like minor little shifts in your brain that you could be having. I don't have any good examples for you, but I think these are like little tiny shifts in your perspective, like how you perceive things that are going on in your life. And these little changes, these little shifts in perspective, I think could have a bigger impact. So, something to pay attention to. Next, in the area of your closest relationships, you have the King of Wands. I kind of see you needing to take the lead in your closest relationships, or it's like you are being a leader in your closest relationships. This isn't just love. This is every single relationship in your life. So, I think that a lot of you could be doing that. I think that, it could be a month where you have to be more bold and assertive with people. Like, it's like sometimes I think we go through those stages where it's like, maybe this is one of those months where it's like people aren't going to be reaching out to you. It's like if you want to socialize, it's like you might have to be the one to initiate with your friends and things like that, which is kind of interesting. You might be feeling a little bit lonely. Now, one thing I would say is I would blame this on Uranus and Gemini. Uranus will be retrograding back into Taurus like on November 7th, but so it will be retrograding, but it's already touched tips basically with Uranus and Gemini, and it's already been in there. That is your 4th house. And sometimes, I don't know, I think that energy there could be some moments where you feel lonely, over these few years that, several years, I should say, that Uranus will be in Gemini. But it's like not a bad thing. And I also think this is what it's trying to get you to do. Again, I always say, like, astrology is not a prison sentence. It doesn't say, oh, you're going to be alone, you're screwed. It says, you might be feeling these things, here's how to solve it, right? So work with the energy. And one way to work with the energy is to realize that, yeah, maybe your friends aren't going to be reaching out as much. But that doesn't mean they don't want to be with you. It just means that you have to be the one to initiate. You have to be the one to reach out. You have to be the one to, talk to people and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, like, kind of grease those wheels. I do feel like you could be attracting a very confident person here as well if you want love, but not really a love reading. This is definitely, I think this is all about you, and you could be very focused on success with that you are destined to succeed card, and the Ace of Swords definitely could be some victories here. Next, in the area of your future feelings, you have the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords, like a blessing in disguise. There definitely over the next several years, there is a lot of spiritual things happening for Pisces. It just wouldn't surprise me if you have had or are having a lot of like spiritual flat tires. A lot of those kind of like destined moments, where you're like, damn, I avoided that, stuff like that. The other night, I think I told you the story. I could be mistaken, but the other night I was driving home from my class late at night, and I was really tired, but I stuck around to talk to some people that wanted to talk that were in this class, and I was tired, but I was like, I'll stick around. And then on my way home, there was like a huge accident, and I literally must have just missed it. So it's like it might sound stupid, but I think that Pisces could be having a lot of those moments where it's kind of like a spiritual flat tire, and I would pay attention to that. But again, I do think there could be some sort of blessing coming in for you here. You have the Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles is a change in direction. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you're making a change. Seven of Pentacles says, is the juice worth the squeeze? I'm like, I think I've said this to you before, and this should not be scary. This should not be as scary as it's going to sound, Pisces. Because I know you, Pisces. It would not surprise me if this year even you decide to like scrap something that you've been working on and completely starting something new. Seven of Pentacles, sometimes I think we can work on something and then we realize that we need to make some changes or do something else, but it would be worth it, It like this type of energy always reminds me of like there's so many stories of like authors like George R.R. Martin, right, who wrote Game of Thrones. He was writing a completely different book before he started Game of Thrones, and then he scrapped it and started writing Game of Thrones because he like realized he needed to make some changes. And obviously that's the thing that made him very successful. So it's like sometimes that's how I feel about the Seven of Pentacles. We can be working on something and then we decide like, oh, maybe I need to do something different with this, but it's like that next step is exactly the thing that is going to lead to success. So don't be afraid of like, kind of like moving in a new direction or changing directions if you've been working on something. Definitely popping into my head. We're going to clarify. With the Eight of Swords and the Four of Pentacles, you have the Ace of Pentacles. Yes, if you are getting any new opportunities, this card always reminds me of this card here. The Ace of Pentacles, this talisman card, it has that pentacle basically in the middle. Ace of Pentacles would be a big opportunity that's coming in for you, and I think that there could be a big opportunity coming in for you here. But the Ace of Pentacles has to be nurtured. It has to be cared for. You have to like really treat it like a garden. You have to water it, feed it, fertilize it, give it sunlight, all those other good things. With the Ace of Swords, you have the Four of Swords. I literally said do less in this reading, basically, right? I don't know. I just get this feeling for you, Pisces, where it's like if you're trying, I think that is the thing that you have to not do, right? Is try. You have to do, which those are two different words, right? And, here's the other thing that I would say to you, Pisces. Just being critical of myself here for a minute is like when I used to try, but I was just trying. You know what I mean? I wasn't making the full dedicated commitment to the things that I was working on. It's like maybe the difference between me and those other people that I was talking about is like I would try something, meaning I would kind of like dabble around with it and I would kind of give it a little bit of time here and there. It's like I think those other people, the people that I worked with, it's like what the difference is that they would give the things they were working on like a dedicated set of time. They would say like, I'm going to work on this for 2 hours right now. And I'm only going to focus on this one thing. Remember, we were talking about this with the Ace of Swords, like dedicated focus, having a chief definite aim. I think this month, even, I would say for the rest of the year, it's like it would be better for you to give something 1 hour dedicated every single day than it would to work on something for 8 hours a day where you're just all over the place. In Pisces la la land, right? And, I think that's what this is saying, basically. With the Eight of Cups, you have the King of Cups, you showing up here. Remember, how crazy is it? We were talking about your emotions in this reading. King of Cups is the card of having very deep emotions and, like, needing to process how you feel about this, that, and the other thing, right? So definitely some emotional releases going on here. I think it would be super good for you to have emotional releases on purpose. You know what I mean? Whether that's crying, screaming, yelling, I don't care what it is. Just number one, don't do it in public. Don't do it on YouTube. And yell into a pillow so your neighbors don't call the cops, right? Next, sure, we'll take both. With the Magician, you have the Queen of Swords and the Queen of Wands and the King of Swords here. The King of Swords is a card of knowledge and wisdom. Queen of Wands is a card of needing to be bold, assertive, confident. I think these are energies that you've been working through for sure with that Magician. The Magician is, sometimes I look at like a combination of energies. He's a card of reinvention. And so he like works on himself to fit something that he is trying to manifest. And, again, I think a lot of you have been doing that. With the Six of Cups, you show up here as the High Priestess right here. The High Priestess is the card of unlimited potential. And you had a card here that says, challenge yourself to go beyond your limitations and you'll find your infinity. This is your card, Pisces, the High Priestess. She has no roof over her head. The whole point of this card is that she, sure, it's intuition, Pisces, blah, 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 mysteries, whatever. But really, she is a card of unlimited potential. There are no limits to what she can accomplish if she can set her mind to it. So she has to like really set her mind to something to accomplish something great. And that's what I would do with that High Priestess. With the Hierophant, you have the Lovers. Definitely could be love coming in for you for sure. I mean, I think Pisces is due for good love for sure, solid connection. I think Pisces has been through it, as far as love is concerned. So, as long as you've processed things and healed, definitely could be a love connection here. The Hierophant can be marriage, but really it can also be a spiritually guided connection. And so I feel a lot of you could be, attracting some sort of spiritually guided connection here with the Hierophant and the Lovers, which is good. With the King of Wands, you have the Knight of Wands. Yes, like I said, it's like you have to be spontaneous. I would take advantage of any spontaneous opportunities as well. Those are going to be the things, those are going to be, that's going to be like the thing that is going to be the most fun for you, right? Is like being spontaneous, people inviting you out and you just deciding to go. I would do all of those things. It's like, maybe a good way to put this, Pisces, is I think it's time for Pisces to become the life of the party, and maybe you're not there yet, but I think you will get there. With the Ten of Swords, you have the Seven of Swords. This could represent needing to be careful of like liar, cheater, stealer. So I would definitely pay attention to anyone in your life or anyone who comes into your life that seems like a liar, cheater, stealer. But the other thing is that the Seven of Swords is a card of tactics. This to me is kind of like saying the end is not the end. The Ten of Swords says something is dead, done, over with, but really the Seven of Swords is about finding a different approach. He is stealing these swords from an army in the background. Again, this is something, to me, Pisces is a true innovator. You will hear me say this a lot. I've said it before. Everybody says Aquarius is the innovator. But it's like if you look at all the famous innovators, they're all Pisces. Steve Jobs, Phil Knight, they were both born on the same day, by the way. And, Steve Jobs, Apple, obviously, Phil Knight, Nike, right? The list goes on and on of Pisces innovators. So Pisces is really good at seeing something that seems dead or it seems like it couldn't work and turning it into something that could work. So, that is the Seven of Swords. And, I would pay attention to anything, it's like there might be an opportunity, it's kind of like what's popping into my head here, Pisces, is there might be an opportunity in something that people say is dead. People say this all the freaking time. Working on YouTube for so many years, I cannot tell you how often people say shorts are dead, long videos are dead, 12-minute videos are dead, this is dead, that is dead, right? Goes on for years. And for every single person that says XYZ is dead, there are like 10 YouTubers that prove them wrong, right? So it's like, but again, I think there's something in this for you where it's like people could be saying something is dead. And it's like, yeah, sure, maybe for them it is, but I feel like there could be an opportunity for you. Yep, with the Seven of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Pentacles. I feel you are probably improving your finances here. So if you are wanting to make more money or, I think you are. I think you are doing things to improve your finances and stuff like that. You have this happiness card. Yes, I think you need to focus on happiness. It's kind of funny because you end with this great personal sorrow card, Pisces. It's like, I think you need to process the emotion and get it out. You know what I mean? With this great personal sorrow card. I'm going to pull you an extra card because, these two are kind of popping up here. I think you need to focus on happiness as well. You have this beetle card. It says good fortune on it. Really good. So, again, I think that it could be a very, very fortunate month. But I feel like it could be is the key word. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this reading. I think this reading is saying you have to do, not try. I think doing for you is going to be very simple. Literally, today is the 29th of August. This will be published on the 30th. If you're watching this video early, like today, I would literally go out, I would pick one thing that you want to accomplish this month, and then I would give it a dedicated hour. I think that would be 1,000 times better, like I said, than 8 scattered hours, right? I think if you do that, you literally could change your life this month, but you have to focus. You have this parrot that says someone will gossip about you and all your secrets. Yeah, between now and March, I'm pretty sure I said this to you in your last reading or in your September reading. There is something about your astrology right now where I think it could be bringing out gossip or challenges or people, saying things. But it's like, it's kind of like one of those things where, number one, I would ignore it. Plain and simple, right? People are going to talk. It actually, to me, it's a good thing. If people aren't talking about you, I think that's a bad thing. Because it says you're not worth talking about, right? And so I think it's a good thing. Number two, I also think that it depends on where they're coming from. It's like sometimes people, maybe you say that you can do something and people are like, yeah, whatever. Pisces says they can do these things. So it's like, just go and do the things you say you can do because your results will speak for themselves. There's nothing, to me, this is saying there's nothing to even worry about this. You know what I'm saying? You have this vase card that says secret admirer. I think you've had a secret admirer for a while and you don't even realize it. I think that the thing about Pisces is clueless. I think that, someone could literally, just be right up in Pisces' face and they would be like, this person doesn't like me, right? So, I don't know. Pisces, I think we are clueless a little bit sometimes in love. So, I think this is a challenge on both sides, for you and this person. There is kind of a little bit of love here, but it's I don't know. I'm wondering if you're dealing with a person who's too cautious, and you're probably too cautious as well. So maybe you need to take bigger risks with people. If you have a person that's always around you, yeah, they probably like you, Pisces. If you have a person that's literally this far away from your face and they're trying to kiss you every 2 seconds, you don't even realize it. Yeah, they're probably interested. So I don't know. Someone's got to do something. You have this broom card. It says new home, new attitude. Uranus and Gemini. I mean, it would not surprise me if you are going to either change something in your home or do something new in your home. Again, be careful in your home. I think I said this to you in your last reading. It's literally Uranus goes into Gemini. My brother tells me he's moving out all of a sudden, right? Moving in with his Pisces girlfriend. Then also my shower clogs. Obviously, I don't have any hair, right? So and the plumber was showing me all the hair. hair that he was pulling out of the freaking shower, right? Which was insane. So, again, there can be surprises in the home, but these could be good surprises, Pisces. They are good. The thing with Uranus and Gemini is I think it's going to change more than just your home. I kind of said this earlier, that it's going to change your environment, meaning all the energy around you. So, there are going to be big changes, but pretty interesting reading. Destined to succeed, I think, is true if you do not try, right? That's the key word here. But looks pretty good. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your month.